guys, it's me, Ruowen Huang. This is a typical day what happens. So much thing going on in my head, and I'll keep saying, okay, I'll talk about it later, and eventually, day goes on, right? I usually get busier throughout the day, and then I was just, maybe I just forget about it. But anyway, in order to reach 300 episodes, I guess I had to, give a little bit push to myself. So, before I begin, let me first introduce myself. My name is Ruowen Huang. I'm an author, spirit coach, and also a psychic. Today I want to talk about why are you afraid of ghosts? Why? This topic comes from a very, just a small incident I encountered this weekend. And I couldn't decide how to title it. But anyway, let's just settle with this. Why are you afraid of ghosts? Because I believe a lot of people are afraid of ghosts. And a lot of people don't see ghosts. Usually those who see are afraid of ghosts. Those who don't see are afraid of ghosts. So, why do I want to talk about it? Through this weekend, I received a phone call from a 10-year-old. A phone call from a 10-year-old. It's actually a daughter of my friends. So when I got a phone call, I thought my friend called me, and it's only later I realized it was my friend's daughter calling me. And I'm like, oh, hi, I'm kind of startled or surprised to receive a phone call from this 10-year-old girl. So I say, why? Why? I'm just startled, right? So I said, why are you calling me? And then sure enough, her voice was shaken. She's a little bit afraid. And she's telling me her older sister, who happened to see ghosts, right? She's telling me, my sister told me there's a ghost in my house. And, she had black hair and white face and standing over there. And I say, yes. Because the longest time it was her sister who is scared of the ghost and don't know how to handle it, right? So I say, yes, but do you see it? Because my suspicion is if your sister see it, somewhere along the way, you might see it, you know what I mean? Same genes, right? So I thought the reason she's so scared is because she see it. And she say, no, I cannot see it, but I'm scared. And I say, why? Why are you scared? She said, well, because there's a ghost. I said, yes, but there's ghosts everywhere. Why are you scared? Right? Because the longest time you are not scared, why your sister couldn't handle it. Why all of a sudden you are scared? She said, well, because it sounds scary. So sure enough, knowing I'm going to have a party the day after and I'm going to see her, that day I decided to say, well, don't worry about it. I'll take care of it. Right, so soon enough, the mom take on the phone. I talked to the mom, and mom do what need to be done, right? And so it was all good. So next day when I have a party, the girls show up again, right? And we talk about it. I say, so why are you afraid of ghosts? And she said, I don't know. Everybody's afraid of ghosts. I say, no, not everybody's afraid of ghosts, and especially you, and I'm applying to you. Are not supposed to be afraid of ghosts. She said, why not? Since everybody's afraid of ghosts, I ought to be afraid of ghosts. I said, that's not true. I say with you, particular, should not be afraid of ghosts because you don't see them. You know what I mean? It's like you are afraid of something you don't see. It simply doesn't make sense, right? Just because everybody's describing very scary. I mean, people are afraid of the idea. We don't know what ghosts would do to us. And sadly, if we apply to our reality, we're often afraid of things because we don't know them, not because we know them. The only way for us to overcome our own fear is actually train ourselves to know them, understand what they can do to us, instead of living in an idea or concept that I am so scared of you. Right? Because we all know it's a snowball effect. If we continue feeding that fear, eventually it becomes our domain, right? We don't even know why we are afraid. We don't even know why we're afraid of you. We just know we should be afraid of you. But the truth is, for those who do not see ghosts, like first, honestly, because they look ugly and they do visually kind of scary, I get it, like you are afraid of them, but for you don't see them, it simply doesn't make sense. like you are afraid of something you don't see. Most of us are afraid of ghosts. That is simply because we don't know what they can do to us. We don't know what it can do to us. But as I wrote so many posts, I write so many blogs, try to tell you from my perspective, that's really nothing they can do to you if you don't continue feeding them fear. That is, if I'm not afraid of you, there's really not much they can do to us. And then that would apply not only to ghosts, would also apply to what you call demon or whatever. If you don't have anything, any energy contribute from human part for them to manipulate you, really, there's nothing they can do to you. So if you simply understand this concept, there's nothing they can do to you unless you give them permit to it. Now, plus I do not see you. Now it simply doesn't make sense that I'm afraid of something that simply does not exist. So sure enough, I say, so really exactly why are you afraid of a ghost? I asked the girl. The girl said, because they keep shaking the door. And then I say, okay, that's because you don't know what it look like, and then you don't know what it can do to you, and then you continue being afraid of them, and then they can use your fear to manipulate you. So therefore, you giving them power to be able to do the handle shaking, right? And then you are scared. Now I say, let's say I'm changing the person. And then she looked a bit confused. She said, what do you mean? I say, let's change the ghost to somebody, like somebody 10-year-old girl who is being naughty and who is outside your door and then keeps shaking your door handle. What will you do? And she looked at me and say, what kind of dumb question that is? And she say, I tell her to stop. I say, yeah. And then if she won't stop, you say stop. And then this girl was so naughty and they continue shaking. What would you do? She say, well, I tell her to leave, or I will report to my, I will ask my mom to do something. I say, but will you be scared? She say, no. I say, great. Now we come to the common understanding. So when the ghost is doing that to you, I want you to do an exercise, which I want all of you to do the exercise. This is a moment I tell you imagination really go a long way. Use your imagination to imagine, instead of being afraid, like giving them power. Now you have to imagine them to be same age as you or younger than you. So at that instant moment that something happened, you use your imagination to think that was just simply a 10-year-old doing a prank joke on you, right? At that instant moment, that ghost have no option, like no other option but to change into the 10-year-old spirit. The reason of that is if you are not continue feeling the fear and then you use your imagination plus the human energy that is always stronger than the ghost, you are able to bring them down to your peer so you can battle equally, right? So the moment you start using your imagination, you bring them down to the person that you think or you believe you can handle with. Then you will then start having a stronger power than them. If they continue doing the plank, this is what you do. You ask them to leave because, oh, my daughter is back. Hi, having a broadcast. So, can ghosts make humans sick? Yes, but we talk about it totally different. That's totally different topic. Now I'm talking about if the ghosts start playing, making sound or doing things like actually make you feel uncomfortable in your own house, in your own property. This is what you can do. First, use your imagination to bring them down to your same level. So, or imagine them to be someone that you know how to handle it. Therefore, you are not surrounded by those fear that continue feeding them, right? Then, second, what do? You always notice if you are human and you are in your own house, you own the right of the property. That is, imagine yourself watching True Blood or Vampire Diary. I own this property. I don't want you to be in this property. You know how strangers, not ghosts, any stranger come to your house, you have that ownership, like my house, this is my house, what are you doing here? That's basically the same ownership you need to own up when you are dealing with the ghost. So in that situation, if you tell them to stop, they don't stop. You can simply tell them to get out of my house, because at this point you own it. You own the property right, and you got every right to tell any spirit to leave if they are not respectful of your property. So those are the two things I really want you guys to exercise. Sure enough, before I have so many other ways you can burn incense, because every incense that you burn, I recommended the wood incense. Anything you burn, it will restore to its original form in spirit world. So if you burn incense, very likely pushing them out. Or you can also turn on a fan that distort their density, and then that also make them leave the place. So anything that will manipulate place to make disturb the flow. Just imagine they were like a smoke, like in front of you. How do you get rid of them? You simply change the vibration, change the density of things like that, therefore they cannot form together. So there's so many different ways. But really, if you guys want to keep them permanently and not to be afraid of them, train on yourself. Really train on yourself. If you always know I have power over you, and you always know I own the right of the property, it's really simple way, just that you would treat it to any stranger who is being disrespectful to you. You tell them to leave. So anyway, I'm here simply to share with you guys, why are you afraid of ghosts? Please don't follow a trend, because everybody's afraid of ghosts. So you feel the need, you need to be afraid too. The reality is, especially for the kids, the reality is you don't see them. You don't have to be afraid of something you don't see. Then understand you do have power over them most of the time. As long as you're human, you have a physical form. The chances, the energy that you generate will most likely be more powerful than theirs. As long as you don't continue being afraid of them, you don't feed them energy, they really have nothing they can do. There's really nothing they can do to you, right? But especially to the kids, which I know a lot of kids are afraid of ghosts, the one who see or the one who doesn't see. Come on. This is simple things, reality check to you kids out there, okay? Because the other kids that I know who see and do not see, especially afraid of the ghost. Here, I'm simply want you guys to use reality check. With a 30-year-old ghost, like with a 30-year-old, let's say reality, okay? With a 30-year-old adult come to seek for a solution from a 10-year-old. Just in reality, think that. So please apply that to reality too. If you go to school and some adult comes say, "Can you give me a hand?" and then you're only 10, don't listen to them, because seriously, reality, which adult would do that unless they're a little bit not normal, okay? So in spirit world, it apply the same. Why would a 30-year-old ghost continuously bugging a 10-year-old child? Come on, common sense. Okay, so you kids who see them or don't see them, at this point, I'm simply asking you guys to use a little bit common sense. Apply to real world. It doesn't make sense. In reality, it will not make sense in spiritual world as well. So anyway, just a little bit sharing with you all to let you guys know. Guys, you see them, I get it. I teach you how to be strong and not to be afraid of them. But if you don't see them, please don't waste your time. Use your time in somewhere else. Do something better. If they do somehow manipulate the energy, try to make you feel a little bit creepy, if you're living in your house, simply ask them to leave nicely. If they do not leave nicely, then ask them to get out, because after all, it's your house. So anyway, if you like what I'm doing, you can always join me live on Facebook, or go to subscribe my YouTube channel or my website, ruowenhuang.com. Till then, I'll see you guys next time. Bye.